I'm Joylynn M. Ross. I've been here in Las Vegas, Nevada, not Nevada. See, I've been here long enough. Las Vegas, Nevada, for going on 9 years now. I've been in the literary industry for 30 plus years. I loved the panel that just left because they were talking about working and writing in multi genres, which I've done over the years. I've written in multiple genres under multiple pen names, which means building a brand for each pen name. I have served as a literary agent for authors and have landed them book deals with some of the big guys in New York, as well as some indie publishers and some medium sized publishers with distribution deals. When it comes to ghostwriting, I have worked with and for some of the major publishers in New York, as well as some indie publishers, as well as some indie authors, some authors that went on to have their ghostwritten works that I helped them on published with the majors, as well as two of the books that I've ghostwritten currently are in a sixth season and a third season on major networks. One of the books that I have ghostwritten was actually on the big screen. So I love ghostwriting. I love not only being able to share my story, but help other people unearth their story so that they can share it with the world. And as questions evolve, I can share a little bit more about myself and my work in the ghostwriting field. I know you had mentioned something about you wouldn't want, or maybe I don't know if that's your lane, people ghostwriting fiction. That's where my lane tends to be. If you think about the Hardy Boys, if you think about Nancy Drew, it's all ghostwritten by different authors. And we all read those series. So again, with my field, I've done nonfiction, but I'm heavier with the fiction, especially when I'm working with those who are in the entertainment industry, those in Hollywood, those are in actors, and they've done script writing. They tend to come to me and say, "Hey, Joylynn, here's a script, ghostwrite it, turn it into a book." And so that's really, really fun. And again, there's different processes. I have some who like to call me up because they're better at visualizing. So they'll call me up and they'll describe everything. And this character says this, and then this happens. And they'll literally go into dialogue, speaking for the characters, acting out the book. And I will then interpret that in the book. So fiction actually is kind of fun because when you think about fiction, what most of us do with fiction is we write what we know, we research what we don't know, and then we make up all the rest. And so again, depending on the author, I've had New York Times bestselling author. None of us are going to name drop here probably because we all sign NDAs, but I've had New York Times bestselling authors. They just didn't have time. They were on the tour, they were on schedule, they were on deadline, and this book in their series need to be turned in. They didn't have time to do it. They're calling me in the car, telling me what to do. So it really depends on you as the writer, your author, your goal, what you want to come across. And even with your stories that are nonfiction, that are based on your life, you think, why do I need somebody to tell the story of my life? Well, like you said, sometimes you're so attached. When I was working on my autobiographical novel, which is your novel based on your true life, but you got about 20% room to add the fiction, the buzz, the drama, things that are not true. One of the things my editors told me was, okay, now remove yourself from the story. Like, it's my life. How do I remove myself from the story? That may be a reason why you would want a ghostwriter. You may find that it's hard to detach yourself from that life. You may find that maybe I'm just so vested in this. I'm so invested in this. Maybe I don't need a ghostwriter. Maybe I just need a developmental editor, a content editor. Those are the things we help our clients work through. Maybe you just need a right behind. And the right behind is when you have the shell there. You've done all you can. You have brain dumped. You've done it all. You've got nothing left. You have drained yourself creatively, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically. Do something with it. I can't do anything else. And then that's what we have a service called Right Behind, where our ghostwriters will go in and they'll fill in those holes and they'll fill in those voids. And yes, interviews will need to be taking place with that author. You don't want to just know what the book is about. One of the biggest things before you think about ghostwriting and go into ghostwriting is, what are my goals for this book? What do I want to achieve with this book? What goals do I want as an author? So those are huge. We typically do interviews to catch, our authors off guard because they're coming with book on the brain, story on the brain, and we're not necessarily focused over at Path to Publishing, the book you want on the pages. We're more focused of the story that's right here. So if we can get that story out of your heart, then it's going to reflect and relay way better on paper. A couple of the panelists spoke about ghostwriting projects that they had done for clients who were in hospice. They or their family members were wanting to capture the stories of their life before they passed away. Those are what's called legacy writings. In the creative aging community, I'm a teaching artist on the Nevada Arts Council roster. I'm also a teaching artist on the Lifetime Arts roster. What Lifetime Arts is they focus on creative aging for the 55 plus community. So I do a lot of writing and storytelling workshops. And when Ned mentioned hospice, some of that includes going into these hospice facilities and capturing these stories for these families. So what you mentioned here is a legacy writing. And it's not even about being 55 plus or older. We know that after former President Bill Clinton wrote his memoir, he said he feels that everyone age 50 and over owes it to his or her family to write down everything that has happened in their life and share it with them. And I say, absolutely, but don't wait till you're 50. Tomorrow's not promised. So we even have some under 55 come, and those are what those are called legacy writings, and we actually put them in their trust. They're not even to be read until after they have passed. And some of us, they come to us to even help them write their eulogy. They give their eulogy at their own funeral. So again, these are called legacy writings, and most of the time they will go into a trust, and they will be held into the trust until the client passes. Yeah, I actually even have clients where we find out again, what are they comfortable with? What are you comfortable with? Are you comfortable with the video? Are you comfortable with photographs being taken? I will typically bring my videography team with me. And my videography team, while I'm doing the interviews, they may be speaking about a photograph or a picture or award or a trophy, and at their point, it's right there. My videographer knows, go over there and take a picture of that. By the time we get finished, we can put together a documentary if they want it. And sometimes we've upsold to a documentary where we've showed them that video footage, we've showed them all of those pictures, and I want to leave this for my family. Next Mother's Day, I'm popping popcorn, and everybody's coming to my theater, and we're watching this. So now they have this 2-in-1, what they thought was going to be a book, and now they have this documentary. But it really depends on the client and what they want to do. Mm-hmm.
And you that the ones where I've made top dollar, and I'm talking about projects where we were in the middle 5-figure range. I earned every penny. There's no guilt here, and yet the client is happy. But a number of these people are used to bossing others around and getting their own way.
And they pay for it. It's called pricing a client out. You give them a quote, you hope they'll refuse. But sometimes they don't.
Sometimes they don't.
Sometimes they don't. And you're like, wow, maybe, an extra pack of blood pressure pills and some edibles is worth this.
Exactly.
One of the audience members asked how we, as the ghost writer, remove our own egos from the project when working on it and stick with our client's vision.
Yeah, it definitely can't be about you. And I know with authors and writers, we have that creative ego. It's absolutely not about you. You have to be able to remove yourself. I hear a lot of us saying voice, 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 voice. That's what makes Path to Publishing unique. Our USP is not voice, it's heart. And I don't mean, oh, the love of it. I mean the humanity of it, the empathy of it, the authenticity of it, the relatability, the reliability, the trust. Anybody can catch your voice. Anything can capture your voice. AI can capture your voice. The goal is to capture your heart.
The best compliment that I can get is somebody that says, "Oh, I love what we've accomplished. I feel like I wrote it. Sounds like me."
And you have to get into their heart to achieve that.
Yes, you do.
Not their head and not their voice, their heart. One of the papers that I passed out, it says the confrontational speaker. Like, what does this have to do with ghostwriting? It has everything to do with storytelling, because that confrontational speaker, that newsletter on there, it's about truth. It's about unearthing and uncovering those horrific, hard, ugly, mean truths that most people do not want to put into their autobiographies. Naomi Judd, prime example. And so what I do is I take a lot of writers, I take a lot of authors through that confrontational process where at this point, only you know these truths. Only you can unearth these things and deal with these things, whether you have to heal it, kill it, or destroy it. So when you are working with that client and you tell it something's missing, something's not there, there's usually something they're embarrassed about, they're humiliated about, they're ashamed about, they're in a victim mentality, and I'm one who will call you out on it. My job on this earth isn't to coddle your pain, comfort your pain, console your pain. My job is to get you to confront it, because pain is paralyzing. Pain is immobilizing. And as long as you stay in it, you stay in this mentality of victimhood. And I want you to be in freedomhood. So I tell my clients, I don't want to make you my friend. I want to make you free. And I want to free this story from your bones and whoever is in your life when you walk in that truth, when you walk in that freedom. And then after what they feel like is some kind of scolding, like, whoa. But what if I was to coddle them and comfort them? We'd be forever. And then at the end of the day, yes, we may have a wonderful project, but it won't be the truth. And I learned that when I had to give my mother's eulogy. I had never given a eulogy before, and I researched, what do you do with the eulogy? Do you make people laugh? Do you make people cry? How do you do this? What do you say? The truth. Yeah. And you've got to be a truth teller in this. The truth hurts. The truth may be mean. The truth may be ugly. Tomorrow's not promised. Do you want this truth? Can you not get over it, but can you get through it? Can this even open up an area where wounds can be healed? So the reason why people typically choose me, if you can't tell, I'm a truth teller. I'm very verbal. They're not paying me to coddle them, console them, comfort them. They're not paying me to give them grace. They're paying me to make sure they are accountable. I'm not going to give you grace. I'm going to give you space to be accountable. But I'm also not here to convict you. I don't have the power to do that. You got to take that up with the Holy Ghost. But I am here to give you that strength and that power you need, because you're already a very powerful person to be able to want to tell your story or help someone else tell theirs, but to just ignite that fire in them to be able to share and to tell that truth. It repels some people, my method and how I am, but other people can really sit back and embrace it. She's not a yes person. She's not just going to tell me this sounds good and this goes good and yeah, I'll leave that in there, or don't go leave that in there. We're going to work that out. I actually have licensed therapists and counselors who work with me when doing these projects. It's that serious to me.
I agree. If you're not telling the truth, why bother?
Why bother?
Tell the truth. So the project died. Yeah. And it's very frustrating as a ghostwriter to invest yourself. You get involved with people and you become their allies, their friends, their counselors, all the kind of things Joylynn was talking about. You're committed. You can't do a good job if you're not committed, if you're not empathetic.
Yeah.
But then when somebody pulls the plug for, what you could have told her in the first 15 minutes, your mother is not going to like this.
Yeah.
She's still in denial and it's going to cost you your relationship. Saved her 8 months and.
Yeah. And my experience is just the opposite with yours, Ned. A couple of months ago, she was afraid what her mom would think. And she kept saying, her mom, her mom, her mom, her mom. I said, let's go back to your goals. Who did you say you were writing this book for? Well, women who this and women who that and women who have been carrying this pain and women. And what do you want them to take away from this book and this and that and that, and it'll save their lives and it'll touch their lives. I said, okay, your mom's standing right there, and all of these millions of women whose lives you said you wanted to save with your truth are over here. Which one are you going to pick? She's writing that book. Thank you very much. Sometimes you got to hurt one person to save a million. That's how I work with my clients. Any other questions, though? Ellen, you have a question? It's word of mouth for me.
Yeah, they come to you.
So that was an easy one. How many of you are thinking about being a ghostwriter or working with a ghostwriter? Raise your hand if you're thinking about being a ghostwriter. Okay, awesome. And thinking about hiring a ghostwriter? Okay, awesome. So we're going to be outside because I know another panel's coming in. So if you want to ask us any questions regarding becoming a ghostwriter, any tips that we can share with you, or if you're seeking a ghostwriter to work on your project, you have 4 amazing people you could interview and consider. Or even if you don't work with us, we want to make sure that you are equipped, educated, and empowered so that if you do choose someone to work with you and tell your story, which is the most valuable thing you will ever have on this earth, we want you to choose wisely. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.